What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber. As always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Now, it ain't even been a week since the verdict came down that Daniel Penny, the guy that choked Jordan Neely on the subway, has been found not guilty. And amid protest and stuff like that, things are what they are. Can't change it. One of the ways to avoid the justice system is to put yourself in a position where you won't have to interact with it. Because the system's going to always be the system. And everybody knows this, but sometimes you get people that dance around the subject and act like they don't know, or they're surprised at the outcome. Now, this story right here, I was going to do a video on this yesterday, and then it keeps popping up, so, you know, I'll talk about it. Many BLM activists that were out there are calling for vigilante justice and all this other craziness and stuff like that, calling for black folk to start attacking people, to protect themselves, primarily people that are non-black, in a vigilante style situation. And I think that's that's the worst advice you could tell to a lot of folks out here that are emotionally distraught. I don't know why people get on camera after a verdict and say crazy stuff to either make themselves look good or whatever, or to incite some type of riot or violence. I don't understand this. I'm going to show you something real quick. I'm going to show you two different videos. The first video I'm going to show you is one of the BLM representatives after the court, the verdict was read. And they're going to talk a little bit about it. And then I'm going to come back and show you something else. Take a look at this.
That affects really millions of people. Because if someone can't come to your rescue in a desperate situation because others are feeling threatened, if there can't be an American hero to save the day, we're in a world of hurt. Well, now we don't have to worry about that in the case of Daniel Penny. New York and beyond has been divided after a jury acquitted Marine veteran Penny in the death of Jordan Neely. He was that erratic person I was just describing. They were all aboard a subway underground with passengers who were panicking. Penny's lawyers, right after the verdict. Let's watch.
Daniel, can you tell me how you're feeling about this right now?
You going this way?
Can you tell me how you're feeling?
He's feeling great, guys, and it's just a great day. It's just a great day.
Now, there have been calls for the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, who we know is soft on crime, far liberal. He ran on the words, "I'm going to get Trump." So did Letitia James, the state's attorney general. I mean, there's a thirst here on that side of the equation in the law, and it's very much liberal. So here were his words yesterday. There were calls for him to resign. He lost this case after making a lot of hay about it and bringing it in the first place. Quote, "As with every case, we followed the facts and the evidence from beginning to end. The jury has spoken now. We deeply respect the jury process, and we respect their verdict." He needed to come out ahead of all the protesting yesterday and say a few words like that and call for them to stay peaceful. He still needs to do that because not everybody respects the court's decision, the jury's decision. Protesters outside the courthouse yesterday could be heard inside the courthouse. And before the decision came down, I was asking, well, how does that affect the case? How long has that been going on? New York's Black Lives Matter leader with what really is a threat.
Stop begging this system to justify our lives. Stop begging this system for justice. When things happen to you, you step up and defend yourself. Just like everybody else seeks justice on their own, just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Jordan Neely was threatening passengers aboard that subway. His words were, "Someone is going to die today." A very different reaction for many who are angry that the charges were brought in the first place. A lot of columns and opinion pieces being written. Here's a small sample. Stop electing soft on crime radicals like Alvin Bragg. Another. Daniel Penny's innocence and the shame of Alvin Bragg. Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett writes, Bragg has done lasting damage. And another here, Daniel Penny may have been acquitted, but the bad guys still won. The New York Post cover. Enough is enough. Jurors reject Bragg's indictment of a man who protected subway riders. Carrie, I come to you on the legality of some of what was said yesterday. That was a small, little clip from that man calling for black vigilantes. There were also threats from a BLM leader, I guess is what you'd call her yesterday, a lot of news conferences by the protesters, to burn stuff down in the city, to burn cars. Those are threats. Those are promises of violence. Alvin Bragg should be busy today on that.
Look, it doesn't come as a surprise that BLM said what they said. They are a discredited and disgraced organization that is driven by racism and bullying. And, we never see them showing up in Chicago with all of the gang warfare that's going on there when you have when you have African-American people dying all the time thanks to gang violence and the like. Where are they then? They're not there. But Harris, look, if I were advising the Department of Justice as far as day one actions with respect to these soft on crime prosecutors, with Alvin Bragg being at the very, very top, here's something very specific and practical they can do. They need to take a look at the Office of Justice Programs, which is within the Department of Justice. OJP, that's the acronym for the division, they give out over $3 billion a year to cities across America to help with their law enforcement activities. If I were DOJ, on day one, I would get a list of all of the grants that's been given out, and I would match it up against cities that are being run to the ground by these progressive prosecutors. And I'd say, you know what? You're not getting millions of dollars from us anymore because you're not doing your job. You're not enforcing the law. You're downgrading felonies to misdemeanors, which Alvin Bragg, again, has done that over and over again. You prioritize political persecutions and prosecutions over actually keeping people safe. Enough.
Yeah. Bobby, from what you're seeing here from an FBI perspective, I am curious. With threats on the ground, is the FBI working some of this right now? And look, we hope it goes away. We don't want to give it more oxygen to make it bigger, but we do have to cover the fact that there are threats out there and they're based on race and they're coming from a group that calls for black vigilantes against people who are not black.
Yeah, I would think this is inciting violence, and that's a crime in and of itself. So I think you're right. I think hopefully, and I worked in the New York office of the FBI for many, many years, and I hope that they're following this situation, because these are people that are out there breaking the law. They're breaking the law just by inciting that violence. The violence doesn't have to occur, thankfully, for that to be a crime, and they should be charged with it. If Alvin Bragg was a responsible prosecutor, he would be charging these people. He'd be at least threatening to charge them. I think it's time to get rid of the immunity for prosecutors. The left talks all about getting rid of qualified immunity for police officers. I think you want to stop this. You want to make them really think about it before they bring a prosecution. You open them up to civil liability. When I was an FBI agent, I carried $2 million worth of liability insurance just in case somebody sued me. I think it's time for prosecutors to face those same types of penalties, because the Bar Association won't do it. The Bar Association is run by the left. They will not call these people to account. I think that civil liability on the part of prosecutors who abuse their office, it's time for that to happen.
Bobby Chacon and Carrie Aubin, I say every day, I learn something new on this show every day. And you're hitting it from the funding and the money. And Bobby, you're hitting it from let's make it fair and make those political leaning prosecutors basically pay, just like a doctor has to have malpractice. It's great to see you both. Thank you for all the information.
All right, guys, that's the story. And that's the first video. And you've seen the BLM representative or whatever telling people we need black vigilantes out here and all this other stuff. Any type of vigilante stuff don't work. You know it. So telling people that are emotionally charged up right now that's what we need to do was one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Dumb. If he was in my organization, whatever organization I had, and he was in there and he said some shit like that, I would disband him from it. because you're giving a lot of information to people on a verdict that left people emotionally upset and charged up, and you're saying this. And you got other people that are saying, oh, we need to tear the city down and all of this other stuff. That doesn't change the verdict, because the verdict is what the verdict is. We talked about this case already, regardless of how you feel. Because when I first did the story and I first seen it, I was like, oh, that's messed up. But sometimes you got to slow down your thought process and just take a lot of stuff in after it's presented to you, and then make your analysis then. Now I'm going to show you this video. They got a BLM member on News Nation talking with the anchor, and he's asking her basic questions, and she in there acting a fool and going back and forth, feeling that she has a valid point. I want you guys to take a look at this, man. When you listen, they need to have trained people that are a representation of an organization, trained in like the media and know how to talk and stuff like that, before they just put these people on TV. Because all it does, in my opinion, is discredit the organization further. Take a look at this.
Do you not blame Jordan Neely at all? I mean, for what he did? He deserves no blame from your perspective, right?
Did you hear the witness testimony?
I'm asking you a question.
Or are you cherry picking the ones?
I'm asking you a question. Do you blame Jordan Neely at all for his conduct?
If Jordan Neely was a white man, we'd be saying it was an opioid crisis. He was hungry. He was mentally ill. He had a muffin in his pocket.
I wouldn't be if there were other. What about the witnesses? Let's play again, just so we're clear on the race.
Play Eddie Gibson, who begged Daniel Neely to stop.
Oh, again, but he stayed there throughout the incident.
Play the ones that fit the narrative.
But what's the narrative? There's black women who were on the subway. It was mostly people of color on the subway.
What about a white man during cross-examination who said that he was afraid of Daniel Penny, the one who poured water onto his head and said that he was afraid? He was a white man.
Yeah, okay, so... And
what about the Latino man who was holding his arms?
I'm not the one identifying everyone by race. You are. You're the one who keeps telling... Why? Why do you have to? There was nothing in this case.
Because when you look at the FBI, when you look at when hate crimes happen, when you look at when injustice happen to black people,
but let's agree.
We don't get justice.
Let's agree to some... Look, I'm going to be doing a segment later this week on a missing black woman who has not been getting nearly enough attention.
Send it to me and I'll share the post.
By the media.
Absolutely.
Because I understand that, and to that degree, you have a fair point about the way sometimes the media and the justice system handles. But not in this case. This case, even the prosecutors conceded Daniel Penny had every right to go hands-on, and the question became, okay, when should he have stopped? I understand that.
The time frame on that from the DA's office was after 30 seconds. Can you not concede that Daniel Penny was a trained killer, that he not have his gray belt? United States Marine Corps is an assassin?
Sure, but
he knew. Let me finish.
Every Marine is a trained
because
assassin.
Actually, black Marines and white Marines have reached out and actually told us he went too far.
But going too far is different from criminal.
Let me break it down. A chokehold, a blood chokehold, which he did. You're only supposed to hold someone in that move for 8 to 13 seconds. You're not supposed to do it longer than 2 minutes. Why did Daniel Penny, when the train was completely clear, everyone was on the platform, why did he hold it for nearly 6 minutes?
Because he was scared.
He was a Marine is scared of of someone he labeled as a crackhead.
Again, is it not possible that Daniel Penny, when he's doing this on the spot, stepping up to help people of many different races, moves in and doesn't have a clock with him to decide when he should stop and when he shouldn't, which is why, in the end, the jury acquitted, right?
No, actually, Daniel Penny was trained very well by the United States Marine Corps, and he knew what the signs were. He knew when Jordan's body was slacking. He knew that Jordan was going to die. Why didn't you show his face, Dan? You're a good man. Of when he laughed and when the first response, I'm critical of the police. We know this, right? NYPD tried to save his life while they were doing chest compressions. Daniel Penny laughed and said chest compressions. A good person, a hero. One last thing. Why did he never ask about the well-being in that police department about Jordan Neely?
So
he was a hero.
You're asking a lot of questions that are sort of rhetorical questions, right? But the ultimate question is, why did the jury acquit? Is it because they're racist?
America is inherently biased.
So the jury is racist.
Have you seen?
I'm asking you a question. No, don't change the subject. Is it because the jury is racist?
Yes.
Okay.
The jurors.
Even the black person on the jury.
Would you like to hear something from me? I believe that even black people can be anti-black. People are predeceived to see black people as a threat and as a victim because people called in. You heard the voice recordings when they called 911. Jordan Neely was in a chokehold for over 4 minutes, turning purple, which black people do in fact do that, and people still saw him as a harm. Even when his body went limp, he was still viewed as a criminal. So I'm sorry if I'm going to defend the needy, if I'm going to defend the poor. Why does no one talk about when Jordan Neely came on asking for water and being thirsty? Why does no one talk about...
Because they're talking, because that's not what happened right here. What happened right here, the reason he was held was not because he was asking for water. It's because he was scaring the heck out of everyone on the subway, which apparently he's done before.
Dan, anyone who has rode the New York City subway has encountered mentally ill people. Why are we not having this conversation? And we don't kill them.
But you know what?
We offer help or we get out of the way.
But more people wish people
them.
would step up more and help and stop people from doing it.
So are you giving a license to vigilantism? Are you saying that we should
not
kill
vigilantes.
People? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying is it's very unfortunate. I think Daniel Penny would say it is really unfortunate that he died.
Why didn't he care when he was at the precinct? He showed no remorse.
Because he was defending what he did.
He lied in that defense, too. Do you know he told people, he told the police, who people love, that people respect the police's opinion, right? People respect what they do. People respect that honor. He lied in the 5th precinct. How can anything he do, can we just stop calling him a hero? Can we do that?
No, I can't. I actually do view, what he did as heroic.
Yeah. Let's run this down the line. She called Jordan Neely a crackhead and then caught herself. I mean, you choked out a crackhead? I mean, somebody you perceived as a crackhead? Like, come on. Come on, you called the man a crackhead, number one. Number two, this is the part that cracks me up. People that ain't never been in the military got all the answers about people in the military, what they do, what their job was, and what they were trained to do. Woman says, oh, Daniel Penny, we all know he was a trained killer. He was in the Marines. He was a trained killer. So people in the Army are trained killers. People in the military period must be trained killers because, I mean, everybody's taught a little bit of hand-to-hand combat in case things go south, especially if you have jobs that entail infantry and stuff like this. Now, I don't know what this man did in the Marines. I just know he was a sergeant. He's a fellow veteran. But I mean, either way, the verdict is the verdict, people. And that's the thing. That's why I tell you, a lot of people are like sheep. And a lot of people play on the emotions of other people when they don't even give a fuck about the whole situation. You know what I'm saying? This will pass just like everything else. You're seeing multiple, anytime you look at any of these videos, guys, where they're talking about this subject, you see black folks en masse coming out and saying, hey, I don't feel that way. The verdict was the verdict. I stand with them. Me, I don't have a dog in the fight. I just sit back, watch stuff, and record. I did a video yesterday about what a journalist said about Jordan Neely's dad not being in his life, and all of a sudden it looks like he wants a payday. I just reported the shit. People tore me apart. But I mean, it is what it is. When you on here and you're in front of the camera, all no holds barred. But come on, man. She said, why didn't he ask about Neely's well-being after the fact when he went to the police station? You think your mind is on that? You think your mind is on that? I don't even think the man meant to kill him, but they painting it like he meant to kill him. Oh, it was a blood chokehold instead of an air chokehold. Nobody knew that shit until the damn trial came out. That's not common knowledge. People know when somebody's put in a headlock or choked out in the street and all this other stuff. It's like a lot of disingenuality with this. I don't even know if that's a word, but still. She says the jury, this part blew my shit. The jury was racist, including the black juror. Didn't answer no yes or no question. That's the thing. Always semantics. You ask motherfuckers questions. Hey, was the people racist? Oh, well, America's always been biased. You didn't ask. Well, there's some black folk that are mentally fixed to not like black folk. What the fuck? What? Things are what they are, man. She defends Neely and the poor. I'm a defender of the poor and homeless. Okay. What happened to that $60 million your organization supposedly went up in smoke when the scandal ensued. Don't hear that. How much of that went to the homeless? And I don't even want to get into that. I mean, this whole thing is stupid, man. That first video, lady said they need to start, these cities with high crime and stuff, they need to stop funding them and giving them money for the police force if nothing's really being done. Like Chicago stuff, I felt what she said on that. She said all these DAs that are taking these cases and seeming like they're not doing their due diligence or whatever, and they need to be getting sued for malpractice. Like the situation with the DA in New York. They say he didn't even want to take the case, but because of public ire and scrutiny, he took the case knowing he would lose. It's crazy out here, man. It is crazy out here, folks. Seriously. She said, when we see mentally ill people, we either help or get out the way. What if you can't avoid that? What if you can't avoid that? There be mentally ill people I seen doing some of the craziest stuff. I just seen a dude, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, run down the street and then stop and swing hard as hell and hit a car that was just at a stoplight. And we was a car behind it. When he hit the car, the person looked and then just drove off, and he picked his clothes up and stuff and just said something, laughed, and then ran off. Like, come on. If motherfucker hit in the car and then he go hit somebody else, what do? Help or get out the way? How you help somebody that's trying to fuck you up and don't know you because they're not in their right mind? That's the thing. All of this stuff is circumstantial. I wasn't on the subway, and neither was a lot of y'all when this situation happened. Said the man was threatening people. I don't care if I die today. I'm going to kill me somebody. Whatever he was saying. Whether you on a train or not, you in a closed compartment and you got a guy that's just threatening anybody, it's going to make you pay attention. Guy said there were people of color on there, mainly people of color on there. She went right over that. Went right over that. So regardless of if the guy was white or not, and he did that, you know what I'm saying? It's the fact that he did it to somebody black. That's not cool. That's not cool in my opinion. Another thing is this, before I get out of here. It seemed like it's the same MO when it's something brought up with race and somebody white doing something to somebody black. It's always something should have been done with the person. It could have been handled a different way. And it's always done like that from people that are not there when adrenaline is rising and people are going through the motion of whatever. The man was alive when the police came. She never mentioned the coroner's report and all of this other stuff, saying that he had K2 in the system, all this other stuff. Is it unfortunate this guy died? Yeah, it's unfortunate this guy died. But could it have been prevented? Because the man was up there in age, in his 20s, whereas his mother had died when he was 14. From 14, then he lived with his dad. Moving forward, I mean, what measures was being taken? That's the part that's missing out of this. It's like a lot of stuff is skipped over just for the end result to be what it is. Could it have been preventable? That's all I'm saying. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. People get on TV and say some of the craziest stuff. I don't know if they just want the media attention, but I mean, they need to be rehearsed before they get on TV and be ready to answer all these questions in a respectable way. Because giving people this advice and trying to curb this type of herd mentality among black folk is not the right thing to do, in my opinion. And I'm keeping it real. See you in the next video. Take care. Oh yeah, and one more thing. I already voiced my opinion about how I feel about BLM. But I'm going to tell you a perfect example of trying to use that herd mentality to curb the opinions of black folk. Did you hear when the black dude said, they gonna choke us and do us like that? Us ain't got a dog in the fight a lot of times when it comes to certain agendas by certain organizations. They'll throw that out there a lot. I ain't seen a bunch of black folk getting choked on a regular basis to where that's brought up, to where immediate change needs to happen. I'm not going outside right now, walking down the street, and on my head, a random white dude just comes out and chokes the hell out of me. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy how people try to play the emotions. And like you see this in a lot of other organizations, not just black organizations. It always has to be a us versus them dynamic. And when I first hear that, that's why I don't deal with no organizations or anything like that. People trying to recruit me in my email and all this stuff. Hey, join our... No, because a lot of times organized groups, a lot of times it's a lot of organized confusion. They put people in front of the camera and be looking crazy when they speak. But you fly in a banner of a whole organization. So whatever come out your mouth is representative of the thought process of that organization. And that's why I think BLM and a lot of other organizations out here, whether they black or white, not all of them, are discredited. See you in the next video. Take care.